Toastmasters and welcome guests. It breaks my heart when I turn on the nightly news and I look into the faces of those whose lives have been torn apart by natural disasters. The loss of life, the destruction of property, and the shattering of hearts. But what truly breaks my heart is when I look in those same faces and the same destruction, only this time it's caused by war. Many, many years ago, I sat in my living room as I watched the nightly news broadcast the latest war. I remember sitting there thinking, why don't they stop already? Enough! And then this very soft voice bubbled up from within me that said, when you can be totally at peace in your little corner of the world, then you have the right to judge what happens on the outside. Whoa, those were powerful words. I sat with them for some time, and I knew that they were true, because I knew that it was easy to point a finger out there, but very hard to take responsibility within. Since that day, I've been inspired by people like Gandhi, who says, become the change you want to see in the world. And Mother Teresa, who says, when you judge someone, there's no room to love them, because they seem to be able to hold a light just a little bit brighter than most of us can hold. And I attempt to take a little bit of that light and plant it in my world in hopes that it will grow through me. Another person who has inspired me is a woman named Peace Pilgrim, a common person like you or I, who not particularly religious, but someone who knew the value of peace and began to incorporate it in her life. One day she was walking and she had a vision. And that vision was a map of the United States with a trail marked on it. And she saw herself walking on that trail. Sometime later, she left behind all her worldly goods, her friends, her family, and even her name. She began to wear a very plain outfit, navy blue pants, a navy blue shirt, with the words Peace Pilgrim printed across the front. And she set off to walk for peace. Now I know lots of people who speak for peace, and I know lots of people who fight for peace, but I know very few people that actually live peace as this woman did. She would eat when she was given food, and she would sleep when she was given a bed. In between, she would fast, live off the land, and sleep under the stars. One day, a gentleman in a saloon offered her a ride, offered her a meal. And as she sat there eating her meal, he said to her, "Ma'am, aren't you uncomfortable in this place with all these people who drink all the time?" She smiled gently and she said, "Sir, I'm not here to judge. And besides, I see everyone as the same." She had a way of touching people in a very unique way. She came across very peaceful and almost reasonable. One night she was walking, and a man offered her a ride in the back seat of his car. As she climbed in the back seat of the car, she said to the man, "Sir, I am very tired. I'm going to sleep now. So while I sleep, I know you will watch over me to be sure that no harm comes to me." And she very quickly dozed off. When she woke up in the morning, the man was staring at her, almost in a daze. He said to her, "I was going to do you harm last night. In fact, I grabbed you more than once. But I just couldn't see it. You see, your words rang out in my ears. And you're the very first person that has ever trusted me in my life. So I just couldn't do it." I'm certainly not suggesting that any one of us climb in the back seat of an unfamiliar car. But are there ways that any one of us can change just a little bit to shift the energy in the world? These pilgrims suggest that if we respond in anger with more anger, the only possible outcome in the world could be is more anger. As she stepped out of the car that day, began her journey, she looked back and she saw the man sitting in his car looking upward. Had she changed his life? I believe she had. One afternoon, she was arrested for vagrancy. As she was being escorted across to the jail cell, the first thought that came to her mind was, how can I be an instrument of peace today? Now my guess is some of the people that I talked about before that spoke of peace probably would have said, how dare you arrest me? Don't you know who I am? But not her. Because to her it didn't matter if her next step took her across the threshold in the jail cell, or if it took her on her next step across the journey. Her message remained the same. How can I be an instrument of peace today? She suggests we don't need more saints, we just need people like you and me to make a difference. Her message is simple. Eat well, get plenty of rest. Forgive yourself when you make a mistake. And pray, meditate, or commune with nature. Whatever helps you find your stillness and quietness inside. And begin in small ways to find ways that you can decrease the amount of anger and fear in the world instead of feed into it. Am I ready to let go of all my worldly goods and don a navy blue outfit? I don't think so. Besides, navy blue is simply not my color. Nor do I believe that that was what her message came to teach.